Hey everybody. Boonk. This guy's amazing. I love the art, the work that's going into these. They're all looking amazing. But characters that sometimes people have forgotten, or they were part of the story, where they're a decent part, but they weren't the main ones, and I love that. I love some diversity. So with Chunks Basic, let's jump into this first. If the character is affected by haste, 50% chance to inflict offense down. Now that is to a harmful effect. Now this is getting cool. Now also there is, when he gets leveled up, there's going to be 15% more chance for either of them, so they're going to go from 50%. Good, I like that. I like what's going on here. So let's jump into his special. It's a two bar cooldown special, so every 2 turns, and that's kind of important to note. Deal up quite a decent amount of damage. That's more than doubling his damage, and then extend durations of one random harmful effect by 1 on each affected opponent. This is getting cool. This is getting cool. So being able to target an opponent, having it hit the opponent and adjacent opponents, that is going to be pretty cool. And then extending harmful durations, and then when you level it up, it's going to go +1 to harmful effects extended. So you're going to be able to do 2 harmful effects. That is getting cool. That will have, I personally think, a whole lot of potential in so many different ways. Not only with this team, and we'll jump into that we'll jump into that later and see what we can do with him. But that is his only special. He's only got 1 special, kind of like Sven. And I don't mind that, to be honest. I don't mind having a diverse range of characters, and even if they can add one later on, way down the track if needed, or if not, just leave them as it is. I don't mind that, as long as like these characters seem to have extra passives too. So for his first passive, Friendly to Fierce, I like. Hopefully it does a real cool animation. Actually, like swaps his face in game. That'll be amazing. On start of his turn, 30% chance to remove 1 random harmful effect from this character. Now that is pretty good. We've seen how good that is with Kristoff. How him, when he's purging and removing harmful effects, he is a pain to get rid of. Now when you see it up above, the more you level him up, it's going to add 15% chance. It's going to become 45% chance to remove a harmful effect. And then at level 3, guaranteed to remove harmful effect. That is pretty big. Now it is only 1 harmful effect, but it's 1 harmful effect every turn, every time he gets a turn. So that will potentially have a lot of use. So looking forward to him, and this is going to make harmful effects not so good, but also him very difficult to deal with potentially. Now also on the start of his turn, if he has haste or taunt, perform the following. Gain taunt for 1 turn. So pretty much by his next turn, if he's got taunt or haste, boom, he's going to get this. He's going to get another taunt for 1 turn, and inflict fear on 1 random opponent. So that is, I got that wrong. So if he doesn't have haste, he's going to gain taunt. Now down below, if he does have haste, he's going to have the following: interrupt haste. So I'm not quite sure with the wording of that, if that means it's going to stop haste as an interrupt, so just stop haste, get rid of it, and gain defense up for 1 turn, and then gain taunt for 1 turn as well. So he's going to get defense up and taunt. So that has massive implications for a tank, and being able to gain haste, or having haste for him and his passive can potentially be massive. And on the start of turn, if this character has taunt, perform the following: interrupt, taunt, and then gain haste. So at the start of his turn, boom. If he's only got taunt, then you're going to get haste. Now I want to see if you can get all 3 at once. We'll have to look into that when we actually get to use him or see him in action. But if you can get all of them activating, is that, or can only do 1 at a turn time? I'm not sure. But it is amazing things to be able to get all that, and then they have interactions with his other abilities. That's amazing. Now he's got a passive that's a 1 bar passive, so once every one round of his turns, he's going to be able to do this. On opponent being affected with fear, this character gains shield equals 2% of their own max health. And then this is also increased by 2% per this character's health. So 2% for the one that has gained fear, and then 2% for this character's main health, plus each Toy Story villain teammate. So 2, 4, 6, depending on how many you have. That has a lot of potential. And then when you level him up, he's going to get bonus shield and conquest. That's kind of like a... I like that it's not built in. It's only built for conquest, and it's kind of like a added bonus. But still having... it's good and bad to have characters that are only for one mode. Now, I hope that he's good enough to be used outside of conquest. And I think by the look of this, he should be. And that's just an added bonus. Although I would love to see more than just that on level up. But hey, I'll take what we can get. Alright, so Big Bill. The first time I saw that, I was like, wait, tried to spin him around and then his head flipped. I was like, whoa! I love that. I love that they took that from the movies and they just put it into his anime. That is so cool. The art and animations going into this just do not disappoint. Just do not disappoint. Anyway, let's jump into his kit and let's go. So for his standard attack is just hard hitting. That's all. Then level 2, bonus damage 10%. Bonus damage for feared opponents, so opponents with fear. And then damage is increased at the end. So it's just gonna be okay. 10%, although is not that much. Lowest level, say at max level, say if this damage is doing about 1k, it'll only do 1100. Depending on, we'll have to see how much he actually hits for. If he's more up around 2k, 2200, a little bit more. But it's not as much to say, wow, I want to run a fear team and I want to be, this is more just like an added bonus. Okay, there's fear. That being said, let's jump into the next one. Now, his special timeout. Now, this is so cool, and I love that it uses the Pixar little ball, and I hope the animation uses it too. That is cool. Now, deals way more damage, so a pretty sizable amount of damage, but also decreases speed meter by 30%. And you'll also notice it is a 2-bar cooldown. So every 2 turns, boom, reduce speed, reduce speed. That is a cool ability. We'll have to, I love it how his eyes like half shut all the time. It's kind of like me when I'm sleepy. For anyone who has watched some of my older videos, when I'm like half falling asleep, there are those videos out there. Just put it out there so people aren't surprised. It happens, and I'm sorry. But level 2, when he goes up, and when you'll be able to increase him, if the opponent has fear, inflicts stun for 1 turn. So not only will you be able to decrease their speed meter, you will be able to stun them. And now there's also something in stun in game that characters that have stun seem to charge their speed meter even slower. So I don't know where to find information on that, but there's just an observation that I've noticed, and I wish all of the effects and the different things that affect gameplay, I wish they were all stated in game somewhere a little bit better. But the only thing you can find is that it says stun. When it gets to their turn, they are going to be stunned and forfeit their turn. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but it is still amazing. And that right there brings a bit of viability to fear teams. So he's going to do a little bit more damage with his basic, potentially stun. Alright, now that we're getting out there. And also, for the potentially stunning, that means if it's going to take longer, because you're decreasing their speed meter, and you're stunning them, it potentially may take longer for them to get rid of fear. Just that's just put out there as well. Now, here's another special tantrum. Oh man, I can't wait to see him in action. He's going to deal an okay amount of damage, not as hard hitting as his previous one, but it is going to deal it to adjacent opponents, so that's going to add in a little bit more. It's going to do actually more damage just spread out, which is cool. And damage is increased 10% for targets that have fear, so that's more, just a little bit more damage with fear. Okay, okay, I can see it starting to add up. So if they had it more percentages, then it'll be, I can see it getting a bit out of control. So yeah, fair call with the fair. Now at level 2, ignore 20% of target's defense if they are affected by taunt. That will be cool. An attacker that can helpfully shred through taunting characters. Now that is massive at the moment. Now since Iago cannot taunt anymore, or cannot remove taunt anymore, all the characters that have purges, most of them have been kind of nerfed. Most of them have chances now to only remove 1 or 2 effects, and if there's stacks and stacks of effects, there's no guarantee you can get rid of the taunt. But this, meaning that you can actually actively try and do more damage to taunting tanks, that is amazing. And then this will also come into play with Lotso, so we'll jump on him into him soon. Now this passive, mama, this is awesome. I can't wait to see that. I absolutely can't wait to see these in action. Now, on receiving damage, 30% chance, and this is every 1 bar, it's a 1 bar cooldown, so every 1 turn of his will be able to activate this. So on receiving damage, you're going to be able to perform the following, which is restoring health and gaining offense up for 1 turn. And if Lotso is a teammate, increase his speed meter by 30% chance, and chance to activate is increased 5% per Toy Story villain. So it can go from 30%, just standard, and then you could potentially add up to 4, so another 20%, 50% chance on receiving damage. So pretty much, as long as he's only hit twice or 3 times, you're pretty much going to be guaranteed by every single one of his turns that he'll be able to activate this, and that'll be good. Now, leveled up, kind of like Chunk, is that he's going to get more bonuses in Club Conquest. Now, I kind of feel like, for both of them, I kind of feel like, since this is the only benefit that you're getting through leveling up, it's kind of like, is it really that worth it? But in Club Conquest, it will be. Hopefully, they'll still be viable out of it, but it would be nice to maybe see a little bit of something else, and maybe just that be a standard, added to level 2 plus something. So he gets something plus per level up, both of them, outside of Conquest as well. That's just my thoughts and ideas. But anyway, what it gets is helpful effects gained is increased by 1 turn. So it'll be 2 turns for offense up. So that's okay. Now that's enough of Big Baby. Let's go for Lotso. Hi guys, welcome in. I'm a nice bear. He was such a scary, creepy villain from Toy Story 3. Is like one of those, oh hello, I'm friends, and then he become, I'm not. That was terrible, but you all know what I mean. So his basic, another one, does damaging on basic, and then leveled up 50% chance to fear. So 50%, that's okay for a basic. More damage at maxed. Now special, lock him up. He will inflict fear and defense down for 1 turn. Now that's good. It's nice that there's a consistent fear giver with all of these. And then allied Big Baby will assist, and then 1 or 2 other teammates will also assist. So it's awesome that he's going to guarantee Big Baby to assist, and then Big Baby will do 10% more damage. So this is where, if it was fear was more for Big Baby, then it'll be too much. I can see that now, but it is cool, and it is a cool way to get them in doing more. And then 1 to 2 other teammates as well. That is massive. Big assist teams coming in. And then also, when you level it up, more defense down duration at level 2, and then +1 assisting teammates at max level. So I don't know if that'll go up to 2 to 3, or if it'll make it 1 to 3. Because that means it may still only be one assisting with a chance of 2 to 3, or it might be guaranteed 2, potentially 3. I would like the latter, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, he does have a special that was Playdate with Destiny. Now, with this, he gets to restore health to the 2 two lowest health teammates. So the two teammates that have the lowest health, boom, get to restore their health. And then if affected teammates have full health, instead give them continuous damage. Continuous healing. That would be terrible. And then restoring more health over 2 turns. So it'll mean by their next turn, if they have then taken damage, then they'll heal more. So that is pretty cool. I like that. Also here, this is the big kicker, and this is amazing. Inflict taunt for 1 turn on the 2 lowest health opponents. So not only going to heal your lowest, on the opponent's lowest health ones, you're going to give them taunt. And now, there's been no other way to get around taunt previously, but you being able to taunt on an opponent's target so you can attack the one with lowest HP, that is going to be... This is why I personally think is going to be best about him. Being able to get around taunting tanks and being like, hey, let's go snipe this. And then it's not easy to remove taunt from your own characters, besides letting it naturally expire, getting them to have their turn. So that is massive. Now, I will speak and say that the one thing that we saw on Frozone way back when you got a rework, we're like, why would Stasis? Why do you want this to remove taunt? Now we know. Now we can see what they've been planning. We can get things to remove taunt, and I like it. I wish now Frozone had the ability to give stasis to the opposing team. So previously, before it was turn-based, this game, Frozone used to be able to choose either helpful or harmful, your team or your opponent's team, to activate any of his effects on. And your team, it would heal and kind of do what it did, and the opposing team, it'll damage and do what it's doing. So it'll like block them, it'll freeze them for a turn, and then damage them and freeze them for a turn. So I kind of wish that was the case with Stasis. That would make it so much more viable, being able to remove an enemy tank's taunt and freeze them for a turn. That will be cool. I personally would love to see that buff to Frozone, and I think that'll make him that'll make him so usable and so meta. That'll be amazing. But that's just a little side note for any of you all wanting some little bit of how are you going to deal with this or other things. But that's, hopefully, we'll see if that goes or not. Now, level 2, 30% chance to inflict taunt on 1 additional opponent. So it goes for 1 turn on the 2 lowest health targets, opponents. Potentially 3, 30% chance you might get 3. Then you can actually choose whoever you want taunting. Or if one of those characters is fast and then has its turn, you still have the choice of the other 2 that you're given taunt, if there's still a tank taunting. So I like that. I like that a lot. And then max level is going to just give more restored health and for continuous healing as well as his main. So I really like that. And then he has a passive, I'm a hugger. When this character is dealt damage, increase speed meter of each allied Toy Story villain by 10%. That is massive. That is massive. So if people are using AoEs, boom, your whole teams potentially can gain speed meter, and 5% chance, or an additional 5% per opponent with fear. So not only 10, if each 5 opponents have a fear, that's going to be another 25%. So it's going to be 35% speed meter for each of your Toy Story villains. Massive. That is massive. Can potentially make Zurg speed up and viable. I like that. I like that. Running Zurg on a team like this, I think he will be plug and play. I am calling it that he is potentially going to be plug and play, potentially with maybe Zurg or Big Baby, or in a full team. I think there's going to be many ways to use him, or just even on his own. I think he's going to have viability. So let's carry on. On the start of the turn, perform the following. Gain a copy of 1 random helpful effect from each adjacent Toy Story villain. Now, it could be haste, it could be offense up. Those are the kind of things that we've seen so far. That can be good. And then if you're giving effects, you can potentially spread it around, and I like that. And then restore refreshes duration, and then restore more health to the lowest 2 teammates. So it's also got a passive healing. That is massive. So on his turn, heal them, and then you can also use your other healing special if you want to. That is cool. That is really cool. And then kind of the same as his other healing ability, that if they got full health, going to give them continuous healing instead. And then in Club Conquest, grant defense up for 1 turn to affected teammates. See, now this is what I like. This is the kind of ability I like. I like that the Club Conquest is built into the basic ability, and you level up for different bonuses, not leveling up only for one mode. I like this so much better, and this is why I think he's going to be very viable in many teams. Now, when you level him up, if it is affected by Toy Story villains, then you get to restore 15% more per helpful effect on the character. So that is pretty amazing. Get more health per helpful effect. I like that. That is cool. And then max level, just 20 and 25% more healing. So he's got a lot of potential. I think 100% he is the star of this new event, and I can't wait to see him in action. And then he's also got a leader passive, which is a Toy Story villains gain 20% maximum health in Club Conquest. So that's kind of like only a Club Conquest thing, but maybe I would like to see if it had, say, 10% out of Club Conquest and then doubled to 20% into Club Conquest or something like that. Maybe I like to see things that have more than one usability is what I like. But level 2 Toy Story villains gain offense up and life drain. That is amazing at the start of the battle in Club Conquest. So that right there is going to make Toy Story villains hard hitting. Guaranteed offense up for Zurg, so you don't have to wait until you get hit. Ooh, I like it. Life drain, so you can heal. Whoo, it's going to change things up. And this is going to be nasty. I can't wait to see these guys in action, and